First time I ever met this man was at a charity golf tournament. He was playing barefoot. God, do I love this guy. He's Jim McMahon here on the Rich Eisen Show. How are you, Jim?
Great, Rich. How you doing?
I'm doing just fine. So the Mitchell Trubisky hoopla in Chicago is off the charts after just one preseason game. Does that just show you how starving the Bears fan base is for a W, Jim?
Well, I'm sure it is. I didn't see what happened last night. I just saw the little clip you sent me. I've never seen the kid play, but it looks like he's got skills. It looks like he can move around in the pocket. It looks like he gets rid of the ball quickly and makes quick decisions. And he might have a bright future. You never know.
Well, I think there's. I was joking that there was a parade set up in Michigan Avenue, and Urlacher said, "I'm going to be the marshal." That's basically what he said.
Well, I know the fans are hungry for a winner there. It's been quite a while, so hopefully he'll have success.
Yeah, I know. I mean, and you were there just as Jordan was beginning to ascend, and so a lot of people always think of Chicago as a basketball town because of Jordan. But I would essentially think you would know differently. Correct?
No, Chicago's a bear town. I think it'll always be a bear town. I mean, they enjoyed the Jordan years and the championships, and they've always been a Cub town and a Blackhawk town too. But I think the Bears are pretty much the favorite.
Well, what was it like with a parade and watching Bears fans celebrate, Jim?
Well, that's about the only thing I regret in my career. I never made it back to that parade. I ended up going to the Pro Bowl that year, right from New Orleans. So,
no kidding.
But I did see all the pictures and the news coverage. It was unbelievable. All the guys that did go back for the parade said it was something that they'll never forget.
No kidding. Now, so you went to the Pro Bowl right after that Super Bowl win?
Correct. Yes, we left that next day. We didn't go back to Chicago.
I didn't even know that. In terms of being a successful quarterback in Chicago, what requires you to have what makeup requires you to be successful in that city, in that position? Something that Trubisky might have to acquire or have within him.
Well, it's the same in any city. If you don't have five guys up front knowing what they're doing, that it doesn't matter who your quarterback is. So. You got to have a good offensive line to begin with, and then you can, if you have any talent, you got to be able to show it from there.
Mm-hmm. A couple of questions for you for your championship years, Jim. I've always wondered this, and Sweetness would have been 63 last month. What was the moment like when the Fridge scored that touchdown in the Super Bowl and not him? Was he upset about it? Did he ever say anything about that, Jim?
I get that asked a lot, and Walter never said a word to me about it. I didn't know how upset he was or if he even was upset. The game was such a lopsided game, and New England's focus that whole game was to stop Walter Payton, and they did a good job of that. I mean, it would have been tough for him to get in because they were so keyed up on him, and that's why I think everybody else was so successful.
But it's just so people would just assume he was not pleased about scoring a touchdown. He never said a word to you at all.
No, he never said a word to me, and we all thought we'd have plenty more chances. We got taken out, I think, midway through the third quarter, all the starters. So, we thought we'd have a few more chances to get down there and score. So, that really wasn't on anybody's mind, I don't think.
Super Bowl champion Jim McMahon here on the Rich Eisen Show. Buddy Ryan passed away in recent days, last year. What are your thoughts on his passing, Jim, now that I have you on the phone?
Well, it was tough to deal with. Everybody's going to go through it. But, Buddy was very well loved in Chicago, especially by his defensive players, and everywhere he coached. I mean, his defense loved him, and I was one of the fortunate guys that he kind of took a liking to in Chicago, and I played for him in Philadelphia and also in Phoenix. So I've had a lot of respect for Buddy Ryan.
Jim McMahon here on the Rich Eisen Show. How are you feeling these days?
Some days better than others. I was back in New York back in June to get another adjustment, so that should hold up for another month or two. I'm hoping. Other than that, my body's just that's why I live in Phoenix. That dry heat feels much better on the body than anywhere else I found.
What do you mean by an adjustment, if you don't mind me asking?
I go back every 3 months to get this. It's called the IGAT treatment. It's called the Image-Guided Atlas treatment. It's a machine that sends a vibrating pulse through my neck, and it moves the bones that are out of whack. It moves them enough to let the spinal fluid flow properly. So I know when I start having headaches and sharp pains in my head, it's time to go back to see the doc.
No kidding. And you do feel a difference? It does make you feel better?
Oh, there's no doubt about it. I mean, it allows the spinal fluid to flow properly. And when it's not, that's what's causing all the pain in my head. That's what causes CTE. I mean, it eats away at the bone. It can certainly eat away at the brain, and that's why you're seeing this in all these guys that have had their brains looked at.
Right. And did you see that study recently where 110 out of 111 brains that were studied did have CTE? Did you see that,
Correct.
Jim?
Yes, I did see that.
What'd you think about that?
Well, I'm not surprised by it. This game's been going on a long time, and a lot of these guys have been misdiagnosed for years, and it's unfortunate, but that's the way the game is. I mean, I think a lot of guys, if they were smart, they'd go get their own MRIs and take a look at their heads and their necks and see if things are in the right place. Because if they're not, they're going to have problems down the line.
Do you have any regrets playing, Jim?
I regret playing when I was hurt. I mean, it was especially in 1986 when my shoulder was gone. I had no labrum at all in the front of my shoulder. They kept telling me there was nothing wrong with it. So they shot it up, and I played for 10 more games. And I finally went to see a real doctor in Frank Jobe out in L.A., and he said, within 5 minutes, your shoulder's coming out of the socket. And I said, well, I've been telling these guys that all year. And I got it fixed, and I was lucky to be able to come back and play after that. It could have been really, really bad. Yeah, I mean,
geez, you played all the way to 1996. You spent a couple of years in Philadelphia, and there's a question I've always wanted to ask you, too, about this, Jim, because I heard this story. I heard this story from Seth Joyner. That is it true that one day in the vet you were warming up and got hungry, and in full uniform hopped off the field and went to the concourse and got a pizza, and brought it back to the field? Is that a true story, Jim McMahon?
That was pregame.
Pregame.
Well, we were out there in pregame. I think it was actually up in Atlanta.
Okay.
I remember getting a pizza up in Atlanta. I was standing in line with everybody else. Just had my football pants on and the half shirt, and I had a ball. That was going to be my payment. So when I got to the front of the line, I said, "Hey, I'm playing down there today." I said, "I don't have my wallet, but I'll trade you this ball for a pizza." And she says, "Oh, I can't do that." And I said, "Go get the manager." And he came out and he goes, give me that ball for a pizza?" He goes, "Give him 2 pizzas." So I got 2 pies and went down and sat under the goalpost and ate them right before the game.
And did you share it with any of your teammates?
I asked anybody that wanted any. They weren't too hungry.
Okay. And did Kotite say anything? Was he having any issue with this?
No. I mean, he yelled at me a few times. I ordered hot dogs down there, some sausages. Wherever I got hungry, I had to order some food. I mean, those games last a long time,
So it is a true story. That's what I heard, that you had actually done that. And they asked you for money, and you're like, "Hey, I've got no pockets here. Here's a football."
Yeah. The manager was happy to take the ball.
So you did in fact cough up the football then?
Oh yeah.
Okay, fantastic. Hey Jim, it's always great chatting with you. I'd love to keep in touch and have you back on as much as you're willing, just to chat with you.
Hey, anytime, brother.
You got it. Thank you, Jim. That's Jim McMahon, Super Bowl champion.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on radio stations across the country and audience.
If you liked some of that, get some more of that on the Rich Eisen Show app. Follow all the information you see right here on the Rich Eisen Show.